Welcome to this explainer. Right now, there is just a massive fundamental shift happening in our education system. I mean, while AI in schools might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, it's actually already here, and it is completely transforming how students learn. Today, we're breaking down some incredible insights from cognitive scientists and frontline educators to see exactly what happens when artificial intelligence becomes a classmate. Okay, let's dive into this because will AI stop our kids from thinking is literally the exact question keeping parents up at night right now. As one parent representative in our source material so honestly admitted, whenever she leaves the house, she's constantly telling her kids to get off their tablets. Right? We've all been there. There's a very real, very valid fear that bringing AI into the classroom just means more passive screen time, that kids are going to become overly reliant on these machines, and that their ability to think for themselves will just sort of wither away. Section 1. The Screen Time Fear versus the AI Reality, Redefining the Classroom. The reality on the ground is that experts and educators are actively pushing back against this fear of passive, mind-numbing screen time. How AI actually changes student learning is completely redefining what happens inside these rooms. Just look at the stark contrast in educational goals here. In the past, the focus was all on finding the single right answer, usually through rote memorization. Picture a student just buried in a textbook. But in the AI era, getting the answer, that's the easy part. The new goal is entirely about digital literacy. It's about asking the right questions, understanding exactly how the AI arrived at its conclusion, and critically thinking about that whole process. We're moving from just consuming information to actively questioning it. Cognitive scientist Kim Sang-kyun offers a really brilliant perspective on this. He points out that we often think of AI purely as this omniscient oracle, like the smart kid with an IQ of 150 who just feeds you the right answer. But if used correctly, AI can play completely diverse roles in a classroom. It can act like the slow kid that a student actually has to explain things to, or even the funny kid that sparks creative, out-of-the-box dialogue. By interacting with these different facets, a student's brain isn't just relying on one narrow, lazy pathway. It's stimulated holistically. It activates multiple areas of the brain for comprehensive problem solving. Section 2. Elementary Sandbox. Training the AI. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what these third graders at Donham Elementary School are actually doing. They aren't staring blankly at a screen. They're actually doing motion tracking. First, they stand in front of a camera and input data by doing physical poses, like physically putting their hands up in the air. Then, they use that data to train the AI. Next, they test a small robot, coding it to mirror their exact pose. And finally, and honestly most importantly, they troubleshoot when it doesn't work. And, it frequently doesn't work. When the kids do a complex pose, the robot might just stand there doing nothing. And that failure? That is exactly where the magic happens. The students realize that they need to delete bad data, feed the AI better examples, or maybe tweak their code. By debugging the system, these 8 and 9-year-olds are learning firsthand that AI is not some infallible, magical god. It is entirely 100% dependent on the quality of the human-curated data it receives. Listen to this insight from an elementary school teacher, which I think perfectly captures the mission here. The goal is not button-pressing kids, but kids who can critically question the principles of AI. When you actually see these classrooms in action, the kids are highly engaged, they are intensely focused, and they're working together. There are zero sleepy eyes in that room. They are totally immersed in discovering the principles of how the technology functions, which directly shatters those initial screen time worries we talked about. Section 3. High school reality. Complex problem solving. Let's see how this builds as students get a bit older, where the stakes and the complexity really scale up. At Anyang High School, the students take that foundation learned in elementary school and apply it to complex, real-world scenarios. They're using AI cameras to act as the literal eyes for humanoid robots. They code these robots to recognize specific colors, smoothly track running lines, and independently navigate tracks. This isn't just a toy anymore. They are simulating the exact logistics technology used in modern automated warehouses today. And when the camera fails to recognize a line and the robot wanders off, the students immediately jump into collaborative debugging, bouncing ideas off each other to fix the code. This is exactly what educators refer to as physical AI. It's this amazing process of taking artificial intelligence out of the theoretical textbook and bringing it straight into the real world by connecting software directly to physical hardware. And the high schoolers absolutely love the challenge because they get immediate, tangible feedback. They code something on a screen, and a robot physically moves or crashes right in front of them.
So the crucial point is this concept of embodied cognition. Cognitive scientists emphasize that when we engage our bodies and our senses in the learning process, when we physically build and test and troubleshoot, our brains anchor that knowledge so much deeper than if we were just passively listening to a lecture. The curiosity expands, and the memory of how to solve that specific problem really sticks, all because it was a full-body, hands-on experience.
Section 4. The value of safe failure, building resilience. This brings us to the philosophical core of these classrooms, a complete reevaluation of the concept of failure itself. Our cognitive science expert frames this so brilliantly. Imagine you expect an outcome of A, but you get an F. Well, that's a catastrophe, right? It's way too far from your goal and you have no idea how to get back on track. But if you expect A and your code outputs B, actually, that's engaging. It's a safe, predictable failure. It's kind of like the structure of a joke. You expect one punchline, but you get a slightly different one. These AI projects allow students to constantly experience these A to B failures, giving them the space to safely tweak their work and try again without any catastrophic consequences. And this brilliantly illustrates how we actually build resilience. Just like you literally can't build physical muscle without some physical strain, or learn to ride a bike without a few scrapes and bruises, you cannot build mind muscle without intellectual trial and error. Project-based learning with AI provides a totally safe environment for these mental scrapes. By allowing kids the courage to fail and try again, we are building highly resilient thinkers. To summarize, if we use this tool well, it doesn't just hand out answers. It expands the child's questions and thinking itself. AI becomes a partner in a dynamic, iterative process. In this new era, just getting the answer isn't the superpower anymore. Knowing how to ask the next great question is. Section 5. Empowering the teachers, guiding the revolution. But here is the reality check. Absolutely none of this happens automatically. In this massive shift, the teachers are having to learn right alongside the students. Policymakers at the Ministry of Education are acutely aware that you can't just drop expensive tech into a classroom and expect miracles to happen. They're rolling out massive support systems. We're talking specialized AI training for teachers, funding for master's degree programs in AI integration, and experts who provide on-site school consulting. And crucially, they are heavily focused on equitable budget distribution. The entire goal is to ensure that these cutting-edge, hands-on experiences aren't just reserved for a few wealthy districts, but are genuinely accessible to all students across the country. Ultimately, what we are seeing is a profound professional shift. Teachers are no longer just people who stand at the front of the room and dispense facts. They are transitioning into visionary designers of educational experiences. They remain the critical heart of the classroom, setting up the boundaries, guiding the interactions, and ensuring that the AI serves the student's growth, and definitely not the other way around. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. We've seen today that AI isn't going to stop kids from thinking. In fact, when it's used in hands-on physical ways, it forces them to think deeper, collaborate harder, and really understand the mechanics of the digital world. But it requires a messy, sometimes frustrating process of trial and error. So as parents, as educators, and as a society, are we ready to step back, stop demanding instant perfection, and let our kids fail safely so they can truly learn? It's something we all need to seriously consider as we step into this new era. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.